Hey there, my name's David and welcome back to the Restyle File. I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark, Mercari, Depop, eBay, and I also consign with The RealReal. Question for you all, who out there has a death pile? Who's actively working on it? Looks like you all are about the same as me. Just kidding. I'm working on it, trying to work on it. I am actually trying to be better about my death pile. I've been making a conscious effort recently to list more items for my death pile and try to pull back a little bit on how frequently I'm sourcing. Because everyone knows everyone loves sourcing, but not everyone loves listing. So stuff tends to pile up. So today I have pulled 15 items that I have recently listed. I made sure that I actually listed them before I pulled them in order to do a sort of haul from my death pile. Because the stuff I have in my death pile is not necessarily bad stuff. A lot of it is really, really great stuff. It's just that it's not the immediate thing catching my attention, so it tends to fall into the bottom of the pile and I forget I even have it. In this video, I even have one very interesting find that even I didn't know about until I finally looked at it one more time. We'll get into that later. But if you haven't done so already, please make sure to like, comment, share this video, and subscribe and hit that bell icon, that way you're notified every time I upload a video. So starting off with my first item. It is this pair of vintage Y2K style blue jeans by, if you can't tell already, Tommy Jeans. And something sort of interesting about these is that they have a band, a waistband, that says Tommy Hilfiger all around it from the front and back. And this kind of reminds me of that like early Y2K/90s trend of people wearing like a Calvin Klein underwear waistband where it's visible. And that's actually kind of making a comeback. So I thought this is a perfect time to list these. I've had them forever, but I don't know why I never listed them. They're size 32 by 32, so it's a great size as well. And I even took some photos of it on a female mannequin as well as a male mannequin, just because I could also see a woman wearing these as a sort of like low slung baggy jeans. So I'm listing these for probably about $50 or $60. The next item here is a new to me brand, and it is a pair of blue sort of loose fit jogger pants. It is called Pilgrim. And I think it's like Pilgrim Surf and Supply Company or something like that. These are super expensive retail, and I wish these were my size. I believe they're a size medium, but they're kind of smaller in terms of the medium scale. Maybe I need a large, but they're baggy. They have a interesting back pocket detail, and I will probably list these at about $125. Just because brand new, they cost about $300 to $325. Another item for my death pile is this Figs blue scrub top. I believe this is called the Katarina. And you can see there the Figs label, it's a size medium. And it's just a plain blue scrub top. There was a time where I was picking up Figs whenever I could see it, but nowadays I tend to leave it behind just because you really aren't going to get more than like $12 to $20. So if your sourcing is at the bins, then Figs is a great brand for you. But if you're sourcing at a thrift store where they're charging you like $6 for them or $8, then debatable. I don't really pick up Figs much myself anymore. This item I think fell into my death pile just because we are approaching the warmer months, and it is a 100% cashmere brown cardigan, but it's Jacobs by Marc Jacobs for Marc by Marc Jacobs in collaboration with Marc Jacobs for Marc by Marc Jacobs. Sweet merciful character limit. I currently have this listed for about $40 or $50. I imagine it's probably going to take a while for it to move, but at least it's finally listed. The next item I have here is a rare kids piece. This is probably my death pile just because I'm not usually terribly excited about kids' clothes. But this is actually a really adorable little dress. So I figured it'd be perfect for garden party type environments. It's a high-low, so the front is a little bit longer than the back. And the brand, I've never heard of it, but it is Trish Scully Child, and it's a size 8. And I just thought it was really pretty. I bought this at the bodega back in the Rio Grande Valley, so I probably paid like, what, 50 cents for it? But finally listed it. It had a really great model photo. Next item here is a J. Crew blazer. It's from J. Crew Factory. You can tell it's factory because of the little diamonds beneath the label. It is a size 4, and it's in pretty solid condition. Something kind of interesting I noticed is that it should have brass buttons there, similar to the ones that it has on the sleeves, but it looks like for whatever reason they replaced them. Kind of a markdown in my opinion, but oh well. Have it listed probably for about $45 or $40. This item here is a cropped denim distressed jacket, and it is by a label, you can't really see it there, but it is Simon Miller. And Simon Miller is apparently a designer sort of label, so this is an upscale denim jacket, which is probably why I purchased it. But when I purchased it, it had like a strange sort of white blob here. And I remember I washed it and I tried stain treating it and it didn't come out. And so I kind of just abandoned it in my laundry pile. But the other day I fished it out and I was like, where'd that stain go? It doesn't really make sense to me. I could still see a couple little white marks from what looks like paint or whiteout or something on there. But I went ahead and finally listed it. We'll see how it does. I have it listed currently, I think, at about $60 or $70. This next item was in my death pile because it was a real reject. And it is Armani Collezioni. According to the Real, they rejected it because they said they do not accept that brand. That's a lie. I have had them accept Armani Collezioni before. So that probably means they mostly didn't accept it based on style. And it's definitely a little bit dated. It's probably like maybe mid-90s to early 2000s, but I went ahead and stuck this on a model, and I think it looks nice. It's a size 8, so we'll see how it does. I'm sure it'll sell eventually. I think I have it listed probably about $40 or $50. This next item is a black sort of Coach jacket, and kind of interesting just because it's a sort of nylon material at the top, but then it has a knit layer beneath. And it is by Opening Ceremony, and it's a size small. Opening Ceremony is a upscale sort of streetwear label, but items like this and their dresses don't really resell for much. Certain key pieces like their Letterman jackets sell well for a couple of $100s, but something like this I don't see myself getting very much for. I could very well see this eventually selling for about $30 or $40. This next item is so beautiful. You might have seen it on my Instagram page if you follow me on there. If you don't, please make sure to follow me on Instagram. My handle is TheRestylePhile, but it is a beautiful sort of 80s-rific dress by Anita Contour. In my Instagram reel, I said she don't need no contour, she is beautiful. And it's belted, it has this decorative collar, and the reason it was in my death pile was because the collar is dirty. It has stains like right there, and general yellowing throughout. And I thought I'm going to stain treat it, but to be honest, at this point, I really don't think I'll be able to get that out. It's probably just because of the fact that it's, 40 or 50 years old by now? So I am actually just listing it as is, and I'm still thinking that I could probably get a pretty decent amount just because it is a very sort of cottagecore, prairie chic piece. And that being said, I think you could totally just cut off the collar and it could just be a sort of faux wrap dress and it would still be really beautiful. The next item I have here is a red 100% linen blazer, and I won't show the label just because it still has tags. So it is by a label called Southern Gents, which I believe is kind of like a boutique label that's exclusive, well, not exclusive, but sourced in the Houston area, which is where I live. Because I've seen this label a couple of times, but From what I can see, they're mostly just like an Instagram label, but it's a pretty nice blazer. It's double-breasted and it is 100% linen, and we are in the midst of summer wedding season, so right now is when guys are logging on and trying to find a suit that they can wear in warmer weather, and linen is a pretty classic material that you can wear and still be comfortable even if you are fully suited. This item I had in my death pile just because we were in the midst of winter, but now that we are going into spring and summer, it's the perfect time to bust it out. I'm excited for this one. I think retail it costs about $250, so I'm probably gonna list it at about $150 and hope for somewhere between $100 or $125. I sold a double-breasted coat by this brand before for about $100 or $150, so I'm pretty confident I can swing it. I have 3 other things that I want to show before I get to my piece de resistance. The first is these. These are so cute. They're just a little red sandal, and they have these really delicate little gold flowers and roses. They kind of remind me of Beauty and the Beast just because they're such a vibrant red. And they are by Sesto Meucci, which is an old Italian label. I've never really sold it before, and I don't really see them going for much, and unfortunately, these are a very small size. They are a 6, so that's probably why they were in my death pile. But I finally got them listed, and we'll see how they do. This seems like something that might do well on Depop. For some reason, Sesto Meucci is a label that I see all the time under the Gucci tagline. I think because people just see this on a worn away sole and they assume that it's Gucci, and I just look at the listing and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Sesto Meucci. And the designer shoes don't stop there. I have another pair right here. These are a sort of cream colored loafer with a very unique sort of gold chain detail. And they are by Lanvin, which is a French designer label. Unfortunately, these are also a fairly small size. It says 39, but that's a French size, so I believe that's probably about a 7 in US, if not smaller. But they're pretty cute. I would typically send them into the real world, but I don't think they would probably price these too high, just because Lanvin is not a super highly coveted label, at least not currently. So I will try selling these myself, probably list them for about 6 or 7 months, and if they don't move at all, then I will probably send them into the real to have them take over. But they're in great condition. The reason they were in my death pile was just because I was thinking I was going to try to get the marker off, but to be honest at this point, I don't really care. I'll list a lot of my shoes with that anyway, and it's yet to really cause any sort of issues. It's just a personal annoyance to me. Based off of that label, I paid $12 for these. Steal for Lanvin. Allow me to take you under the sea. This is a super cool 90s sort of Y2K chain belt. I suppose it could also be kind of 70s maybe, but I would assume it's from the 90s, and it's just a bunch of sort of gold hoops, and it has all of these little stars or starfish adorned throughout, and it's a chain. You wear it around your waist. And I'm actually going to be pretty bold with this one. I think I will list it at about $75 just because I think it's super unique. And I haven't found anything similar in terms of comps. And I think that once that Little Mermaid movie comes out, that this will also probably fly at that point. We'll see. I could also be stuck with it for the next 50 years. But I personally really like it a lot. The reason I had it in my death pile was just because I wanted a really nice mannequin photo with this worn, and I couldn't really find the perfect sort of item in my mind that this would be accessorized with. Sometimes I get real in my head about those types of things. So I just finally listed it fairly recently with an average photo. If the right items comes along, I'll take another picture with it. But it's beautiful. I like it a lot. This item, let me tell you a little bit about it. It is a black polka dot sheer mesh collared dress. And I bought it at a charity shop run by some church. And I initially picked it up just for style. I thought it was super goth, witchcore, and also has some sort of vintage flair. You can see here at the bottom that it has a sort of tiered ruffle, and it's just a bunch of polka dots throughout. Can you see me? But I thought it was super cool. And I was saying to myself, this is such an interesting piece. But when I tried looking for a label, usually on this kind of piece it would be on the back of the slip or somewhere down the sides. I found none. I looked all over the garment. I thought maybe it might be somewhere here on the collar, but I couldn't find one anywhere. So that of course also means no size tag. I'll put a photo here with possibly the timestamp if I have it of when I initially saw it. So it fell into my death pile just because that means I have to provide measurements, and I hate it when it includes a slip because I never know should I do measurements of the outer garment or the slip. Because theoretically you probably can't wear the outer garment if you don't fit into the slip. And this is one that's attached to it. And this was before I was very good about going on Google Images and doing Google Lens to try to reverse search an image. I was shocked at what I found. So let's see if maybe I could put a picture here of the results that came up. So it turns out that this dress is a Christian Dior dress. What? That's crazy. And all this time, it's very likely been a designer dress. And I say very likely just because I don't have the tag, I can't say for 100%. But I think that considering that this is a vintage dress, that it would be very strange for there to be duplicates of it. I mean, anything is possible, I guess, but I don't think that counterfeit was such a huge issue back in that time. On that note as well, still not sure what exactly I'm going to do with it. I actually haven't listed it just because I don't know what to do. What do you guys think I should do? Should I list it kind of just as is and say, hey, it happens to be the exact same style as this vintage designer dress? Should I maybe seek other ways of getting it authenticated? I'm not sure how else I could really do it without an actual tag on the item. I know the Real, from what I've seen, does not accept items without labels. So I don't know if that would work. Maybe I should try sending it in anyway? I really don't know. If you have any suggestions for what you would possibly do if you came across a designer item that was missing the label, please make sure to let me know in the comments below. But that was a really fascinating find, and I'm a little embarrassed to say that I had an impressive designer dress like this, and I didn't list it, and I didn't even know about it. That's crazy. And testament to how you should always Google Lens items, even if they don't have a label. Just take a Google Lens of the entire item because you never know where you're gonna strike gold. Another interesting thing, turns out I had my mannequin wearing it backwards. I thought this was the back and that this was the front. But I guess it kind of makes sense because these are not actual buttons, they are snap buttons. But regardless, it's just a really cool piece to have. Even if it's just like an archive piece, I still think it's really impressive. And it's in pretty good condition. Since it is mesh, there's a couple of little holes in the mesh, but very, very minor. I think this is really cool. That's it for my haul for today. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to view my video. I really do appreciate it. Please stay tuned at the end of the week for my usual What Sold video that I upload every Sunday, just to let you know what sales that I make throughout the week, and hopefully some of this stuff moves now that I finally listed it. Do you have any great strategies for how to tackle your death pile? Or can you commiserate with me on how big my death pile is? If so, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear any suggestions. or any other stories that you may have as we all try to work through our death pile. Please make sure to like, comment, share this video, and subscribe and hit that bell icon. That way you're notified every time I upload a video. And I hope you have an incredible sales week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. What I can do for today's useless footage is show just one more item that I picked up, and it is this necklace, and it is by a label called Trask, which I think is just kind of like a trunk show boutique kind of brand, and it's not worth much, but it was like $2, and I saw that this chain that it's on, or this necklace, it's pretty tarnished, but it does show that it is 0.925 sterling silver, so I thought, $2, I'll just toss it in there. And I was saying to myself, how nice would it be to be a jewelry reseller? Just thinking about how many shelves and bins and boxes I have of clothes and clunky things like shoes and coats and jackets. And would it be better or worse to just have jewelry? Just things like this. I could probably have just one of my shelving units and have a million pieces of jewelry. I don't know. Am I romanticizing selling jewelry too much? What do y'all think? On that note, that's all I got for y'all. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.